the homeless woman stepped out of the black car, and the entire restaurant went silent. Not because she didn't belong there, but because she looked like she owned the place. Her dress, pure wine, flowing, almost bridal, caught the cold Alaskan light like it had been made for that exact moment. Her hair was styled, her posture calm, her eyes steady. And beside her stood the man no one expected her to be with. Adams. Billionaire, untouchable, the kind of man who didn't walk into rooms adjusted to him. And tonight, he had brought her inside a restaurant owned by the one woman who once had everything and lost it. Before we go further, tell me where you're watching from in the comments, and don't move, because what happens inside this restaurant, you won't see it coming. Now back to the story. 1 hour earlier. Are you sure about this? Sarah asked quietly, her fingers brushing the fabric of the dress like it didn't belong to her. Adams adjusted his cufflinks without looking at her. I don't do things I'm not sure about. His voice was calm, controlled, but there was something underneath it tonight, something sharp. Sarah looked at him. She had met him 3 days ago. 3. On a freezing street corner in Alaska, where she had been standing with nothing but a thin coat and a silence that most people walked past. Except him, he had stopped, not out of pity, but because she looked him in the eyes like she wasn't asking for anything. That was new. You don't even know me, she said. Adams finally looked at her. I know enough. A pause. Tonight, you don't need to be anyone else. Just walk beside me. That was it, no explanations, no details. Just a dress that cost more than most people made in months, and an invitation to walk into a place she had no business being. Back to the present, the glass doors opened. And the moment they stepped inside, the temperature changed. People turned, forks paused midair. A couple near the window stopped talking completely. Because Adams was expected, but the woman beside him, she wasn't. And yet she didn't look out of place, she looked dangerous, confident. Like she knew something no one else did. Adams didn't slow down, didn't acknowledge the stares. He moved through the restaurant like he owned every square inch of it. And Sarah? She matched him step for step, no hesitation, no fear, just presence. At the far end of the room, Clara saw them. At first, she smiled. That automatic, practiced smile of a woman who knew she was being watched. But then her eyes landed on Sarah, and everything changed. The smile didn't drop immediately, it cracked. Just slightly, then fully, gone. Clara straightened slowly. Her hand tightened around the edge of the table. Because she knew that man, better than anyone in that room. She had once been the woman beside him, the one walking into rooms like that. The one people whispered about, until she walked away, for another man. A man who promised her more and gave her nothing. Now here he was, back in her restaurant. With a woman who looked like she had stepped out of a dream Clara used to live in. No, she whispered under her breath. But Adams had already seen her, and he didn't look away, not this time. He walked straight toward her table, every step deliberate. Every second stretching the tension tighter. People started noticing. Whispers began. That's Clara. Isn't that Adams? Who is she with him? Sarah could feel it, the weight of every eye, but she didn't turn. Didn't shrink, instead she lifted her chin just slightly. And kept walking. Clara stood up. Her expression now carefully controlled again, but her eyes. They betrayed her, shock, jealousy, something deeper. Adams, she said, her voice smooth, almost casual. You didn't tell me you were coming. Adams stopped in front of her, just close enough. I didn't think I needed to. His tone was calm, too calm. Clara's gaze shifted to Sarah. Slowly, taking in everything, the dress, the confidence. The way she stood beside him, not behind him. And who is this? Clara asked. There it was, the question, the one she wasn't ready to hear the answer to. Adams didn't rush it, didn't soften it, he simply said, someone important. The air shifted, Clara's fingers curled slightly. Important. He had never used that word lightly, not even with her. Sarah glanced at Adams for just a second. That word, it did something. Even she hadn't expected it. Clara let out a soft laugh, but it wasn't real. Interesting, she said. Her eyes locked onto Sarah. You clean up well. There was venom in it, subtle but sharp. The room felt it. Adams didn't react, but Sarah did something no one expected. She smiled, not defensively, not nervously, but like she understood exactly what was happening. And you don't hide disappointment very well, Sarah said calmly. Silence, heavy, instant. A glass clinked somewhere in the distance. Someone near the bar turned fully toward them. Clara's expression froze. For a second, just a second, she lost control. And Adams noticed. Of course he did. Clara recovered quickly. Too quickly. Well, she said, straightening. I hope you both enjoy your evening. But her voice. Tight, controlled, barely. She turned and walked away, not slowly, not gracefully. But fast enough to say one thing clearly, she wasn't okay, at all. And as she disappeared into the back, Sarah leaned slightly closer to Adams, her voice low. You brought me here for a reason. Adams didn't look at her. His eyes were still on the direction Clara had gone. Yes. Then finally, he turned to Sarah. And for the first time since they arrived, there was something raw in his expression. Because tonight, he said quietly, she needed to see what she lost. And what he said next made Sarah's breath catch. But more importantly, it made it clear, this night was far from over. What she lost, Adams repeated quietly. But there was something else in his voice now. Not just revenge, not just closure. Something deeper, something unresolved. Sarah studied him for a second. You didn't bring me here just for her, she said. It wasn't a question. Adams didn't answer immediately. Instead, he gestured toward a table near the center of the restaurant, the most visible one. Of course, if this was a statement, it was meant to be seen. Sit, he said. The moment they took their seats, the whispers got louder. People weren't even hiding it anymore. Phones were subtly lifted. Glances turned into full stares, because this wasn't just a dinner anymore. It was a scene, and everyone could feel it building. A waiter approached, nervous. Mr. Adams, welcome. Your usual. Yes, Adams said, not even looking at the menu. Then he turned to Sarah. What do you want? Sarah glanced at the menu briefly, then closed it. Surprise me. Adams's lips curved slightly. That answer. He liked it. Across the room behind a glass partition, Clara was watching. She wasn't supposed to be, but she was. Her fingers pressed lightly against the edge of the counter. Her eyes locked on them, on Sarah. On the way Adams leaned slightly toward her when he spoke. On the way Sarah didn't try to impress him, didn't try to please him. She just existed beside him, and somehow that was worse. Much worse. A staff member approached Clara carefully. Ma'am, the guests are noticing. I can see that, Clara snapped. Then immediately softened her tone. I mean, I'll handle it. But she didn't move, she couldn't. Because something about what she was seeing didn't make sense. Adams had never been like that with her, never that relaxed. Never that present, and that realization. It hit harder than she expected, back at the table. So, Sarah said, lifting her glass. Am I just part of a performance tonight? Adams met her eyes. No. Too quick, too certain. Sarah tilted her head slightly. Then what am I? That question hung between them. Heavy, unavoidable. Adams leaned back slightly. Studying her now. Like he was trying to decide something in real time. You're someone, he said slowly, who didn't look at me like I was something to gain from. Sarah didn't respond, but her expression softened, just a little. And tonight, Adams continued. I wanted to see something. What? If I could sit across from someone and not feel like I'm being calculated. Silence, not uncomfortable, but real. For the first time that night, this wasn't about Clara. This wasn't about the room, this was just them. And then, enjoying yourselves. The voice cut through the moment, sharp, controlled. Clara, she was back, but this time, she wasn't alone. A man stood beside her, tall, well-dressed, trying to look confident, trying. "This is Daniel," Clara said smoothly. "My partner." Adams's gaze shifted to him briefly, unimpressed, then back to Clara. "Congratulations," he said flatly. Daniel extended his hand. Adams looked at it, then ignored it completely. The rejection. Public, deliberate, Daniel slowly lowered his hand. Awkward, Clara felt it, of course she did. So she smiled, too brightly. "We heard you were in town," she said. "I didn't expect this." Her eyes moved to Sarah again, lingering, measuring, judging. Sarah didn't flinch, didn't shift, she simply met Clara's gaze. Calm, steady, and somehow. That calmness made Clara more irritated than any insult could. "So tell me," Clara said. "What's your story?" There it was, the trap. Sarah knew it, Adams knew it. The entire room. They could feel it, waiting. Sarah set her glass down gently. "My story," she repeated. A small smile. "I'm still writing it." Clara's smile tightened. "That's convenient." Sarah leaned back slightly. "And yours?" she asked softly. Clara blinked, caught off guard. "What about mine?" Sarah's voice stayed calm. "But you already wrote yours, didn't you? And now you're trying to edit it." Silence, heavy, sharp. The kind that spreads across a room like fire. Someone near the bar whispered, "Did she just?" Clara's composure cracked, not fully, but enough. "You think you know anything about me?" Clara said, her voice lower now. "No," Sarah replied simply. "I just know what regret looks like." That did it. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. The tension was no longer subtle. It was loud, visible. Clara laughed again, but this time it was hollow. "You're bold," she said. "I like that." But her eyes. Cold, dangerous. She leaned slightly closer to Sarah. "Just be careful," she added quietly. "Some worlds aren't built for people like you." The insult landed, clear, intentional, and the room felt it. Adams's expression changed instantly. His jaw tightened, but before he could speak, Sarah did. "You're right," she said calmly. Clara smirked slightly. Then, Sarah finished. "They're not built for people like me." Then, they're taken. The silence that followed. Explosive. Clara stepped back slightly. That one line, it shifted everything. Power, control, perception. All of it, and for the first time that night. Clara didn't have a response, she turned sharply. "Enjoy your dinner," she said coldly. Then walked away, this time faster than before. Daniel followed, confused, slightly embarrassed. The room buzzed instantly, people leaned in, whispers everywhere. Because what they had just witnessed wasn't normal. It was something else, something bigger. At the table, Adams looked at Sarah, really looked at her now. "You're not what I expected," he said. Sarah picked up her glass again. "Neither are you." Then, music started, soft, slow. The kind that changed the mood of a room. Adams stood up, held out his hand. Sarah looked at it, then at him. "You're serious?" "Yes." She hesitated, just for a second, because this felt different, not like before. Not like an arrangement, something else, something real. And across the room, Clara saw it. Saw his hand extended, saw Sarah take it. And what happened next made her chest tighten in a way she wasn't ready for. Because the moment they stepped onto that floor, everything changed. Because the moment they stepped onto that floor, everything stopped, not completely, but enough. The music slowed into something softer, heavier. The kind that made people turn, even if they didn't want to. And Adams. He didn't hesitate. His hand settled at Sarah's waist, firm, natural. Not like a performance, not like a statement. Like it belonged there, Sarah felt it. That shift, this wasn't the men from the street. This wasn't even the men from earlier tonight. This was someone who had stopped holding back. And that. It changed everything. "You're not acting anymore," she said quietly. Adams looked down at her. No. A simple answer, but it carried weight. The kind that doesn't disappear after tonight. They moved together slowly, effortlessly. Like they had done this before. Like the space between them had always existed. And around them, people noticed, phones came out again. Whispers turned into full conversations. Because this wasn't just chemistry, it was presence, power. Something undeniable. At the edge of the room, Clara stood frozen. Her fingers wrapped tightly around her glass, too tight. Because what she was seeing didn't match the version of Adams she remembered. He was different, completely. And the worst part? It wasn't fake. He wasn't trying to prove anything anymore, he wasn't even looking at her. Not once, he was looking at Sarah. Like she was the only person in the room. And that realization. It hit Clara harder than anything else tonight. "Clara," Daniel said quietly beside her. "Maybe we should." "Don't," she snapped. Then softened. "I'm fine." But she wasn't. Not even close, because for the first time, she understood something she had avoided for months. She didn't just lose Adams, she replaced him, and chose wrong. Back on the floor, Sarah exhaled slowly. "You didn't need to do this," she said. "Yes, I did," Adams replied. "Why?" He didn't answer immediately, his hand tightened slightly at her waist. "Not possessive, just certain." "Because I spent a long time thinking I lost something," he said. Sarah looked at him. "And tonight?" A pause. Then. "I realized I didn't." Silence, but not empty, full, heavy, real. Sarah's expression shifted, softer now, more open. "And what did you find?" she asked. Adams didn't look away. "You." That word landed differently. Not like a line, not like a move, like truth. And Sarah felt it, not just in what he said, but in how he said it. The music continued, but neither of them noticed anymore. Because something had already shifted, irreversibly. Across the room, Clara couldn't take it anymore. She turned, walked quickly toward the back. Her heels hitting the floor harder than before. The door swung open, then shut behind her. Silence, for a moment. Then, the restaurant exhaled. Like everyone had been holding their breath. The night ended quietly, no scene, no announcement, just a shift. A clear one. Adams and Sarah left together, the same way they arrived. But different, because this time, it wasn't a performance. 1 week later, snow fell lightly across Alaska. The streets quieter now, colder. But inside Adams's penthouse, it was warm, still, peaceful. Sarah stood by the window. Looking out, different from before, not because of the clothes. Not because of the place, but because of how she carried herself now. Grounded, certain, like she had stepped into something. And didn't plan to step out. Behind her, Adams watched. Not working, not distracted, just present. That alone was new. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then picked it up. Sarah turned slightly. "Everything okay?" Adams didn't answer immediately. He read the message, once, then again. Then, he let out a quiet breath. "What is it?" Sarah asked. He turned the phone toward her, a message from Clara. "I made a mistake. I know that now. Give me one chance to fix it. Please." Sarah read it, then handed the phone back. No reaction, no comment, just calm. Adams watched her for a second. "You're not going to say anything?" Sarah shrugged slightly. "What do you want me to say?" Then she added, "Sounds like regret." Simple, direct, true. Adams looked at the message again. Then, he typed, stopped, deleted it, locked the phone. And set it down, face down, done. "It's too late," he said quietly. Not to Sarah, to himself, but she heard it anyway. And she understood, completely. Later that evening, there was a knock at the door. Unexpected, Adams frowned slightly. He wasn't expecting anyone. He opened it, and there she was, Clara. No makeup, no performance, no control. Just, raw. "I had to come," she said quickly. "I couldn't just." Her voice broke slightly. She looked past him, and saw Sarah. Standing inside, calm, unshaken, present. And something in Clara's expression collapsed. "Adams," she said softly. "I was wrong." Silence, heavy, final. Adams stepped outside. Closed the door behind him, left Sarah inside, safe, separate. Then he looked at Clara, really looked, not with anger, not with emotion. Just clarity. "You didn't just leave," he said calmly. "You replaced me." Clara's eyes filled slightly. "I thought." "I know what you thought," he cut in. "And it cost you. And it freed me." That hit hard. Clara shook her head. "I can fix this." "No," Adams said. Simple, final. "There's nothing to fix." Silence. The kind that ends things, completely. Clara's voice dropped to a whisper. "Do you love her?" Adams didn't hesitate. "Yes." No pause, no doubt, no softness, just truth. Clara closed her eyes briefly, and in that moment, she understood fully. She didn't lose him that night in the restaurant. She lost him the moment she chose someone else. And now? There was nothing left to take back. Adams stepped back. Opened the door, then paused. "One more thing," he said. Clara looked up. His voice stayed calm, cold, controlled. "You don't get to come back into my life just because yours didn't work out." Silence. Then he went inside, closed the door, and didn't look back. Inside, Sarah stood exactly where he left her. She didn't ask, didn't need to. Adams walked up to her, close. Then closer, and this time, there was no hesitation. No restraint, no past standing between them. Just choice, and he made it, fully. If you made it this far, you already know this wasn't just a story. So tell me, where are you watching from? And if you want more stories like this, hit subscribe. Because the next one might be even colder.